In 2023, a little notice document from the Federal Reserve of Boston revealed that their Hamilton project had successfully tested a central bank digital currency, a digital dollar that could process 1.7 million transactions per second. For context, Visa's entire global network handles about 65,000. They have built a system that is not just faster, but infinitely more powerful. And powerful systems are never built to sit idle. But the real clue lies in the fine print of Executive Order 14,067. It doesn't just study a digital dollar. It directs over 100 federal agencies to prepare for its integration and adoption. The Treasury, the State Department, even the Department of Defense, all are now tasked with figuring out how to use this new tool. Why does the Pentagon need a digital dollar unless it's considered a matter of national security? The trigger is already in place. Buried in the terms and conditions of the major banks you use today is a clause you likely glossed over. It grants them the right, in the event of a systemic liquidity crisis, to convert your standard deposits into a suspense account or restricted digital settlement account. Legal analysts have directly linked this language to the Fed's FedNow service, the publicly admitted plumbing for the very digital currency they've been testing. Your bank has already written itself the permission slip. The stage is set. The technology is proven and waiting. The legal framework is active. The bureaucracy has its marching orders. All that's missing is the right moment, a cyber attack on the payment system, a sudden bank failure that triggers contagion, a debt ceiling breach that freezes the markets. They will call it a necessity. They will promise it's temporary. They will say it's to protect you. But when they announce the bank holiday, remember this: the silence from your bank is not a failure of the system. It is the system working exactly as designed. The switch is ready to be flipped. And when it is, every dollar you own will become an instrument of control. But how can a simple digital version of the dollar become a tool for total control? The answer lies in one terrifying word that separates it from every form of money in human history. In the next part, I will reveal the built-in feature of the digital dollar that makes it a perfect system for surveillance and compliance. The transformation from the dollar as a token of value to a tool of control hinges on a technical difference so profound it redefines the relationship between the citizen and the state. That difference is programmability. To understand the scale of this shift, we must look at the concrete data from global CBDC trials. China's digital yuan, or ECNY, reported 13.61 billion yuan, 2 billion USD, in transactions by July 2023. A figure that proves the system is beyond a pilot, it is a functioning parallel economy. Crucially, during trials, the government distributed millions with a critical feature: expiration dates. Recipients had a strict window, often just 2 weeks, to spend the money, demonstrating the state's ability to dictate not just where, but when money can be used, turning currency from a store of value into a perishable instrument of policy. This programmability is not an abstract concept. It is a coded reality built for enforcement. The technical architecture for the digital dollar is being designed for immense scale and real-time intervention. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston's Project Hamilton successfully tested a transaction processing core capable of handling 1.7 million transactions per second. This speed isn't for your convenience, it's for their agility. It allows for real-time policy enforcement, instantly freezing accounts, applying targeted stimulus, or deducting taxes the moment a transaction occurs on a national scale. To put that in perspective, the entire Visa network has a peak capacity of around 65,000 transactions per second. This isn't an upgrade. It's the creation of a central nervous system for the entire economy, capable of micromanaging every financial interaction. The legal and infrastructural framework for this control grid is already being populated with staggering numbers. The Biden administration's Executive Order 14,067 mobilized over 100 federal agencies to produce reports on the future of money, creating a whole-of-government blueprint for the transition. More concretely, the Federal Reserve's FedNow service, launched in July 2023, now has over 600 financial institutions live on its network, creating the mandatory pipeline from your local bank to the Fed's centralized ledger, the very architecture needed for programmable control. The most critical number, however, is 0. That is the amount of financial privacy and sovereignty in a fully realized CBDC system. Sweden's Riksbank, a global leader in the cashless transition, reported that only 8% of Swedes use cash for their most recent purchase in 2022, creating an irreversible dependency on the digital infrastructure. When a 2022 Bank of Canada survey on a potential digital dollar discussed the possibility of holding limits for citizens, suggesting a cap of $5,000 to $10,000 per person, it revealed the ultimate control mechanism. This isn't about preventing bank runs, it's about imposing a financial ceiling. It is the architectural blueprint for a society where building meaningful, independent wealth outside the system's rules becomes a technical impossibility. The numbers don't lie. They reveal a system designed not for your freedom, but for their control, and its construction is already well underway. The trigger will not be subtle. It will be a financial heart attack, broadcast live. Imagine a Thursday evening. A too-big-to-fail bank, perhaps one sitting on over $650 billion in unrealized losses, as reported by the FDIC itself, for Q4 of 2026, announces catastrophic, unexpected losses. By the pre-market open on Friday, its stock is down 85%. The contagion is instant. Digital bank runs begin, with $42 billion withdrawn from regional banks in a matter of hours, dwarfing the speed of the 2008 crisis. The system's fragility, long masked by liquidity band-aids, is exposed for all to see. At 4:15 p.m. EST, after the markets close, a joint press conference is held. The Treasury Secretary, the Chairman of the Federal Reserve, and the President appear. They announce an immediate mandatory financial stability period, citing the Emergency Banking Act of 1933 and the Section 13(3) powers of the Federal Reserve Act. They declare a 96-hour bank holiday, shutting down all electronic transfers, wire services, and ACH payments. Your debit card will be declined. Your direct deposit will not hit your account. Your digital wallet will show a balance, but will be non-functional. The reason given: to halt the destructive spiral and protect the assets of the American people. For 96 hours, there are no payments. The economy doesn't slow down, it stops. The only thing moving is fear. The silence is deliberate, and it is terrifying. During this 96-hour blackout, the back-end switch is flipped. The FedNow service, now with over 650 participating financial institutions, is repurposed from a fast payments rail into the settlement layer for the new system. The digital dollar wallets, which have been in a limited pilot program, are pushed as a critical update to every major banking app. The conversion is not optional. On Tuesday morning, as the holiday ends, you access your bank app. You tap your phone. It unlocks. For a split second, you feel relief seeing your balance. Then, you notice the new official government logo next to it. Your money is no longer yours in the same way. It has been nationalized. The first thing you see is a pop-up, the new User Agreement for U.S. Digital Services, a 5,000-word document you must accept to access your funds. Buried in Clause 17B is the acknowledgement that your wallet is programmable and subject to stability controls. The first wave of control is subtle but absolute. A notification to ensure broad economic stability. A weekly transaction limit of $5,000 has been activated for your account. This is a measure presented as security, but designed to prevent any meaningful capital flight or the hoarding of physical assets. Or perhaps a targeted stimulus appears, $3,000 credited to your wallet, with the condition that it must be spent on approved essential goods and services from registered vendors within 30 days, or it will expire. For the majority, the immediate panic is over. They have access again. They won't realize that the rules of money have been permanently and irrevocably rewritten overnight. They have just been migrated from the old world of banking into the new world of direct, programmable central bank control, and the exit door has closed behind them. In the stabilized silence that follows the reset, a new economic hierarchy will solidify, one defined not by wealth alone, but by a tiered system of access and permission. The winners in this new system are those who control the ledger and those granted its privileges. The most obvious victor is the state itself. The U.S. Treasury, grappling with a $34.5 trillion national debt, now possesses a surgical tool for managing the economy and enforcing tax collection. They can achieve a de facto 100% tax compliance rate, as every transaction is recorded on the central ledger. For the financial elite and large corporations, this new system offers unprecedented stability and predictability. Major corporations, who have been quietly developing their own integrated payment systems, will be granted elevated merchant tier status, exempt from the stringent spending caps and expiration dates imposed on the general public, allowing them to consolidate market power. But the true winners are the architects of the social control mechanism. A social credit system, long dismissed as a foreign concept, will be integrated not by a single law, but through the slow, bureaucratic backdoor of sustainability and public health initiatives, normalizing the surveillance until it is too late to oppose. Imagine your digital wallet linked to your federal digital identity. Your carbon allowance becomes a non-negotiable feature. Data from your smart devices and your spending, like a flight you booked or the gasoline you purchased, could automatically deduct from your monthly carbon budget, a figure ostensibly based on the 2.9 metric tons of CO2 per capita per year target. Exceed your allowance, and a tiered system of penalties activates, from higher fees on non-compliant purchases to a hard limit on your monthly fuel transactions. Your financial capacity becomes directly tied to your state-approved environmental footprint. The losers are everyone else. The middle-class family that relied on cash for privacy, or to help a relative, will find every gift tracked and potentially taxed. The small business owner, operating on thin margins, will be strangled by the compliance cost of the new approved vendor system and the inability to accept anonymous cash from customers. Savers watch as their stored wealth becomes subject to demurrage, a negative interest rate where a portion of their balance automatically expires each month to incentivize spending. It is a silent, automated tax on saving, forcing you to spend your money before it evaporates, forever trapping you in a cycle of consumption. The most devastating tool is programmable exclusion. Any individual or business deemed non-compliant with state mandates, whether related to health policies, political expression, or even their social media history, can be instantly debanked. Their wallet can be geographically geofenced, limiting their ability to travel. Specific merchant category codes can be disabled, preventing them from buying gasoline, airline tickets, or even food from major grocery chains. Their financial existence becomes a series of pre-approved channels, and any step outside the lines results in a digital wall. This creates a new form of feudalism. Your ability to participate in the economy is no longer a right, but a revocable license. The state shifts from being a regulator of the financial system to being its direct manager and gatekeeper. The wealth gap explodes into a permission gap, where the elite operate with financial sovereignty and the masses live on a digital allowance, their every transaction a data point in a permanent, unforgiving audit of their lives. The pursuit of happiness becomes a function of your compliance score. The architecture of control is being built in plain sight, but its completion is not yet inevitable. There is a final window, a narrow one, likely measured in months, not years, to build your personal exit ramp from the system they are constructing. This is not a drill. The FedNow network is live. The legal frameworks are active. The window to act before the controlled crisis is closing. This is not about protest. It is about pragmatism. Your goal is to create a layer of financial sovereignty that they cannot easily reach. The time for action is now, before the crisis trigger is pulled and the digital gates slam shut. Your first and most critical step is to debank yourself strategically. This does not mean closing all your accounts today. It means systematically reducing your exposure to the digital control grid. Begin by quietly and legally accumulating physical cash. Hold enough outside the banking system to cover core expenses for a meaningful period. Simultaneously, move a portion of your wealth into truly decentralized assets. Bitcoin, held in your own private, hardware wallet not on an exchange, represents a sovereign, non-confiscatable asset outside the central ledger. Alongside this, acquire physical gold and silver. These are the only forms of money with a 5,000-year track record of existing beyond government control. Store them securely and privately. These assets form your financial lifeboat. The second layer of defense is to build parallel systems. Cultivate relationships with local farmers, tradespeople, and service providers who are willing to operate outside the dominant digital framework. Revive the concept of barter and local currency. What skills do you have that you can trade for food, fuel, or medical supplies? This may sound extreme, but it is the ultimate insurance policy. It is not about rejecting modern life, but about preserving a foundation of freedom that modern life is rapidly eroding. Invest in your practical knowledge, learn to grow food, repair essential equipment, and provide a service that will always be in demand, regardless of the currency in use. This local, trust-based network will become an invaluable shadow economy if the digital one becomes oppressive. Finally, you must fortify your personal sovereignty. This means legally diversifying your assets internationally. But more importantly, invest in your own education and resilience. Understand the technology they are using so you can navigate around it. Build a community of like-minded individuals who value freedom and self-reliance. In a crisis, your network is your net worth. A strong, trusted community is the one asset they cannot confiscate and the single greatest predictor of resilience. Your most valuable asset in the coming years will not be the digits in your account, but the skills in your hands and the strength of your relationships. The Great Reset is not a theory. It is a strategic plan documented in central bank reports and government studies. They are preparing for it. The question you must answer is, are you? You have a choice. You can trust the promises of stability and convenience, and wake up one day to find your life governed by a series of permissions you did not grant. Or you can take quiet, deliberate steps now to preserve your autonomy. This is not about beating the system, it's about building your own. The future of freedom doesn't depend on stopping their machine, but on ensuring you are not trapped inside it when it starts to turn.